sesi panel discussion. Untuk itu hadirin disilahkan untuk menuju ke ballroom kembali karena panel discussion akan segera kita mulai. Sekali lagi kami informasikan untuk seluruh hadirin yang masih berada di luar atau di exhibition area, disilahkan untuk menuju ke main hall karena panel discussion akan segera dimulai.
Baik, sekarang kita akan menyaksikan video penayangan Regenerative Bali program dari Ecotourism Bali. Mari kita saksikan bersama.
Bali is more than a destination. It is home to rich biodiversity, vibrant communities, and ecosystems that sustain millions of lives. But today, Bali faces growing environmental challenges, from coastal erosion and coral degradation to climate change and biodiversity loss. At Ecotourism Bali, we believe tourism can become a force for regeneration. Through the Regenerative Bali program, we bring together hospitality businesses, travelers, communities, and environmental partners to create real impact through meaningful action. Not just sustainability, but regeneration, restoring ecosystems while empowering people. More than 3,000 mangrove seedlings have been planted to help protect Bali's coastlines from erosion, strengthen marine ecosystems, and absorb approximately 90,000 kilograms of CO2e every year. Every seedling planted is a long-term investment for a more climate-resilient Bali. Under the ocean, our coral restoration initiatives support marine biodiversity and help rebuild fragile reef ecosystems that are essential for Bali's future tourism and fisheries, because healthy oceans mean healthy communities. From releasing more than 200 turtle hatchlings back into the ocean to expanding tree planting initiatives across Bali, every action reflects one shared mission: protecting nature while creating hope for future generations. The Regenerative Bali program is powered by people who care, from hotels and restaurants to students, travelers, local communities, businesses, and sustainability partners. Together, we are creating meaningful tourism experiences that protect nature and give back to Bali. This journey is only the beginning, and now the next chapter belongs to you. Join Ecotourism Bali and be part of the Regenerative Bali program, restoring nature, supporting communities, and reimagining the future of tourism in Bali.
Baiklah hadirin yang kami hormati, kita akan memulai sesi pertama panel discussion yang bertajuk Tourism as a Force for Nature, from Extractive Models to a Regenerative Bioeconomy.
Hadirin yang berbahagia, sesi ini akan membahas bagaimana pariwisata dapat berevolusi dari sistem ekstraktif menjadi ekosistem regeneratif melalui perlindungan keanekaragaman hayati, transformasi perhotelan yang berkelanjutan, serta pelestarian lingkungan yang kolaboratif.
Hadirin sekalian, diskusi ini juga akan menyoroti bagaimana sektor pariwisata dapat berperan aktif dalam menjaga keseimbangan ekosistem, memperkuat ketahanan lingkungan, serta menciptakan dampak positif yang terukur bagi destinasi wisata. Hadirin sekalian, sebelum kita melanjutkan ke sesi berikutnya, kita akan mengenalkan moderator yang akan memandu jalannya sesi pertama pada hari ini. Telah hadir bersama kita seorang profesional di bidang komunikasi keberlanjutan dengan pengalaman lebih dari 10 tahun dalam riset strategis, komunikasi ESG, serta pengembangan ekonomi hijau. Saat ini beliau menjabat sebagai Wakil Kepala Katadata Green yang memimpin inisiatif media, kemitraan, forum, dan inovasi yang berfokus pada pembiayaan iklim, transisi energi, dan pembangunan berkelanjutan di Indonesia.
Mari kita sambut dengan hangat moderator kita untuk sesi pertama,
Ibu
Jeany Hartriani, Co-Initiator dan Deputy Head Katadata Green.
Untuk itu kepada Ibu Jeany Hartriani kami silakan.
Oke, thank you. Halo semuanya, selamat pagi. Yang di ujung saya minta suaranya selamat pagi. Oke, good morning ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the first session of our panel discussion. My name is Jeany Hartriani from Katadata Green, and now we will talk about tourism as a force for nature, from extractive models to a regenerative bioeconomy. And then, first of all, allow me to introduce our speaker. First, we have Ms. Ratih Permitha Syury, Marine Tourism Manager at WWF Indonesia. Please welcome and we give applause to Ms. Ratih. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. We also have Ibu Suzy Hutomo, climate activist and co-founder of Ecotourism Bali. We give applause to Ibu Suzy. And also for this session, we have the global perspective from Mr. Anthony Lu, Regional Director for Southeast Asia and Greater China at Booking.com. Please, we give applause to the Mr. Anthony. And we also have the local context. We will talk about how the local region manage their sustainability and ecotourism. We will talk with Pak Didimus Estanto Turuk, Head of Domestic Promotion and Marketing Division at the Labuan Bajo Flores Tourism Authority. We give applause to Pak Tanto. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so we have the complete panelists for first session. So we can start the discussion, right? Okay, we can take a seat. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us in this morning. We will explore at the important question about can tourism become a force for nature? For many years, the tourism has depended really on nature as its greatest asset, like beautiful landscape, healthy ecosystems, rich biodiversity, and also vibrant local culture have attracted travelers from around the world. But as tourism continues to grow, so does our responsibility. The challenge before us today is not simply how to reduce our impact on nature, but how tourism can actively contribute to restoring and regenerating it. So that's why our discussion is titled Tourism as a Force for Nature, from Extractive Model to a Regenerative Bioeconomy. So to begin our session, we will welcome Mbak Ratih to talk and give the presentation. So ladies and gentlemen, our panelists will present their presentation for 15 minutes, and after that we will continue to discussion, question and answer. So Mbak Ratih, you can continue.
Thank you.
We give applause to Mbak Ratih.
Okay, so good morning everyone. hear you, everybody. Once more, good morning, everyone. Okay, thank you so much. And Ibu Suzy, congratulations for the event and congratulations for the opening system and station in this morning also. And we are very grateful because it's a great and it's very pleasure for us to coming over here to share about our working station in responsible marine tourism as a force for nature today. So I'm Ratih from WWF Indonesia. Thank you Ibu Jeany for introducing myself. And for the next slide, help us. Team. Okay. Is it next? Okay. I will introduce our team working in WWF Indonesia, and we will contribute about the marine ecosystem over there. We have two programs for the marine biodiversity program. The first one is for critical marine habitats to protect and restore the 6 million MPAs over the Indonesian, and then the second one is marine ETP species. And the next 3 and 4 programs is all about the footprint ecological. So the third is sustainable fisheries and aquaculture for double the percentage of fisheries and aquacultures. And the last one, it's me over here, Mbak Ratih, saya for responsible marine tourism and ocean plastics. So we are working for marine tourism to protect our marine ecosystem, and we believe to force nature with a marine ecosystem too with the responsible marine tourism. Next. Thank you. Okay. We are discovering about the MPAs, the marine protected areas, and then also the national park, and also the key tourism destination across in Indonesia. So we are working over the Indonesian teams with around 100 peoples with the local community also, and with 4 aspects of tourism destination about the governance, environmental, and social economy and the culture. So the first one is Bali. It's the very grateful because I was born in Bali. Anyway, I'm a lady from Bali, and we will adapt the Bali's ecosystem over there because we need to replicate, adapt it, and then get more best practices for the across in destination in Indonesia. So we working in Bali also, and then the Labuan Bajo is over there. It's Pak Tanto for the BPO or Labuan Bajo team, and then Alor is Nusa Tenggara, and also the Berau from the East Kalimantan for the Rawan Islands, and other etc. from the Maluku Islands also. So again, we are protecting our marine biodiversity with the coastal and tourism practices over here. Next. So we invited Ecotourism Bali for sharing about the growing tourism, growing responsibility also. How can tourism can be a blue economy or bioeconomy in Indonesia? So we think about the conserve marine tourism is also about the biodiversity and habitats, and also the encourage the responsible visitors also for behavior system, awareness system, and then the support local communities or livelihoods maybe. And also we had to promote the responsible practices and for the resources of marine also. And we also enhance the marine tourism awareness because the protection of marine ecosystem cannot be managed by only one sectors, because we need to cross alignment sector when we talk about the system of destination and the strengthens ocean for our future generation. We have some scientific report also from the booking.com that say 83%, Pak Anthony also having a report for sustainability report in here, choose by travelers to protected or natural resources destination that choose by the visitors. And also we know the islands as a Bali, we have 5 carbons more than forest system. So we need to collaborating the future generation to make a great or compile the strategy to our marine ecosystem also. And from the tourism ministry, we have a 16%, 60% for tourism, attract with the coastal and engage to coastal and marine tourism sectors. But we learned and we heard before when the opening session and ceremony from the Bali's governors or the authorities from Bali, we said about the Bali is having threats for the irresponsible tourism if we cannot manage the system of tourism. So we think the physical damage is really need to clearly having a system and then having a strategy or standard practical for the physical damage, like anchoring from the vessel or from the boat, and then from fin kickings with diver over here. we need to having a stable for buoyancy to do not kicking our coral reef, and then life disturbance from the marine life, and also the pollution. It's not about the ocean pollution, but also the vehicles, oil, mining, and others pollution over in marine ecosystem. So the next one is also about the management capacity for overlag capacity and management, lack of destination visitor and visitor management also. But we know if we didn't action for now, we having a cost of inaction also for economic loss, and we said about the ecosystem college and other things we gonna do if we cannot start by today. Next. In WWF International, we have a coastal and marine tourism for nature positive ocean pathway that will say about the regulate and the reduce for vessel speed, and maybe it can be more practical for Bali also, and then participate in inclusive actor engagement like this event. And also for use wildlife friendly lighting if we want to talk about the vessel in a nightlife, also for protecting our marine key species in ecosystem, and also reduce the emission. We talk about the ESG framework, we talk about the GSTC frameworks, how can translate it from global standards to the local impactful, and then all over there we have a governance and policy, responsible market demand, community-led conservation, and as a WWF Indonesia, we have a scientific-based improvement to accompany the industry, the community, the policy, governance, and others, etc. for also the site infrastructure development also. Next. Yeah. This is our better management practices because we have some standard for compliance. If we talk about the system or we talk about the experiences from the travelers, from the industrial, and then from the private sector or operators, we have conducted like standard from international certification also. So, but from the WWF Indonesia, we cannot do the certification, so you need to try to certify from the third parties, and we gonna support for the company industrial, from the travelers, from the hotel accommodation, LOB, and others, etc. with this commitment into measurable impact across governance, industry, and community. So this is the cycles. When we talk about the bioeconomical, we have a blue economy in Indonesia from marine affairs, and marine and fisheries affairs in Indonesia. Also, we have sustainable blue economic from the WWF International. So we are turning to the global, the national, and to replicate in a local impactful in site across destination in Indonesia. Next. We have time? Okay. 4 minutes again, and if we talk about the governance station like management capacity, Ibu Menteri has already stated about the carrying capacity assessment and monitoring the visitor management. We talk about the governance for destination management, like for the authorities also, for the operators, for the tourism industry, and also if we have a strong governance system are essentials, because it's not only the numbers, but managing the public consultation, the approval from the consultation public, and then the confirmation letter, and how the system can be impactful for our ecosystem over there. Not only the ecosystem by marine only, but also the local community over there, and also the business private sector over there also. So we are trying to collect with the Kementerian Kelautan dan Perikanan, with Capdirjen PKRL, that we have a statement about the carrying capacity tools, limit acceptable of change, and also from the Tourism Ministry, version 4, I think, to have a cross-sector alignment over the destination. And there is a projection from the GSTC coming for Indonesia for trying to sharing about the system, if we can do the practical when we talk about the industrial and destination also. And there is a Labuan Bajo from Rangko. There is a practical for the community from the scientific report and Extractive. Next. And this is the practical from the private sector leadership, that we want to talk about the coral reef, marine ecosystem, species, and seaweed, also the seagrass. We know we need to collaboration for a further generation, because we know the research like this from the Nautica Dive Alor, we have a partner with BRUV or remoting like research from the underwater, that we need to collaboration over there. And then the better management practices from the Dive Komodo also as our partner too. And from the Raffles Bali, they have conduct the training staff for the like sea turtle hatchling system, not only for the release turtle but also the practical, because they have a coastal area to nesting the sea turtle. So, and the below pictures is about the Bali Dynasty Resort from Bali also. They are conduct staff training if we have some practical to mammal standing equation from our side from the species team. Also that when we called about the scientific based improvement, we have a 39% increasing by 2025. The clearly statement by our private sector, it's already having a vision for sustainability. And this is the Signing Blue program from WWF Indonesia. Next. And next. This is the island waste management system that we have tracked by the opening session before, because Bali is facing the challenges also for the waste management system, the journey from the Blue Allies also, from the private sector, how can they connect with the wastewater treatment, and how the dive guide conduct the underwater cleanup after diving, and also the workshop station or workshop session with the community. So we have trying to having some improvement over there, and we are piloting in Berau, Derawan Island, to make a great and clearly infrastructure over there to connect with circular economies too. So because we know if we have only just one sectors like tourism, we cannot do more bigger impact with others. So we need to having a contribution from environmental authorities, and also the marine, and also the tourism and PU and others governance to make great cycles in a destination. Next. The last one is empowering community-based tourism. Yeah, this is practical from Komodo Labuan Bajo, that one of our community-based tourism that accompanied by WWF Indonesia, also from the governance from Labuan Bajo also, that we call about the system for interconnecting public-private partnership, that only about the community also. So they already having a statement about the more than 120 millions in every year. So they have increased about the 5 till 10 more before they stayed with the community practical over there. So kayaking, tourism, attraction, and also we have a strategy for secondary destination about the overcrowd that we said about Bali's governance also. We have a secondary destination that we promote to connect it with the protect and marine ecosystem also. So if we call about the regenerating natures, building an economy from it, and strengthening the people would depend on it. Next station is the last slide is about the thank you, and we are open for further collaboration with Bapak Antoni, Pak Tanto, and Ibu Suzy also, and everyone's over here. Thank you so much. Over to Mbak Jeany.
Thank you, Mbak Ratih. Wonderful works from WWF. And I think we can say hello to your colleague over there.
Yeah.
WWF
From our
team.
side, right side,
Hello.
Mbak Anissa over
Can
here.
you say hello to the team over there?
We
Okay.
invite you to join and coming to our
Yeah,
booth also.
amazing work, WWF team. And so, when your slide said that growing tourism, also growing sustainability. And as the destination attract more visitor, we also need stronger governance, right? And better management, visitor, and integrating design also, like you said in your infographic. Yeah, so now we can move, and we will
thank you.
hear the Bu Suzy perspective from the ecotourism Bali. So Bu Suzy will tell us about the regenerative hospitality and transforming Bali's future. So please, the stage is yours, Bu Suzy.
Okay, thank you. So, yep, so we can go to the next slide, I think. Right. So these are the reasons why we want to have, I'm going to make it very short and, to the point. Why do we have to have regenerative, right? We had sustainable, but regenerative is giving back, because we've had tourism for a long time. So if we just do sustainable, we're just going to keep it at the point it is now, which we know is not really good enough. So we need to have a net positive effect to give back, to build, and in so doing, we're strengthening the tourism destination. It's sort of mutually beneficial to all stakeholders if we regenerate, because that way we can be more competitive in the tourism market, as well as regenerating biodiversity, nature, communities, and so on, just as what you described in marine tourism. So here are just a few things, because I'm a bit further away. I'm going to look over here, I'm sorry. So of course we said that, restore nature. We need nature. Nature doesn't need us. You think nature needs us? No way. We need nature. Tourism needs nature. Business needs nature. All of us, if we want to be well, we need nature. And I think that's a basic fundamental awareness and, realization that we all need to have. We all need, and that's why people come from across the world and go to booking.com and book stuff, because they want to be in Bali, because they know Bali has nature. And secondly is to empower communities. And we know Trihita Karana is a very basic Hindu religious concept. And that is wonderful, because it combines nature with religion, with culture. And that is why people come all the way here too. So these are reasons why we need to regenerate, because if we don't have much nature, these kinds of things that we believe in will become empty if we don't have nature. Third of all is to build resilience. Like I said, we need to build resilience into the future so that the tourism we have will continue to improve, to become better, and to become more competitive, and make more people happy. The locals will be happy because we're going to have tourism that regenerates, and visitors are thrilled to come to help a destination become better. I think that's what we want when we travel. We don't want just to come and take a picture and go, but we want to know that we leave something behind, something positive. Next. So some of the key concepts, of course, the net positive, we need to have measurement, if we have, mangrove X amount, in 5-10 years, we want to have X amount. We can do a biodiversity audit even, right? You guys do that kind of thing and say that, look, in 10 years, this is where we want to be. And then the second one is systems thinking. Obviously, we cannot solve anything. We cannot solve complex problems when we don't have systems thinking. And I think this is one of the weaknesses, I would think, in a developing, tourism destination sometimes here, because we all want quick solution, right? Everybody, and then we give big speeches, but really what we need is a systems thinking. Where does the solution come from? What are the things that are linked together? What's the value chain? And that sort of thing. Of course, the next is we need local regeneration. We need the regeneration to benefit the people who live here. Because one of the saddest things about tourism is that it only benefits certain people. And as you know, as tourism develops, most of the ownership sometimes fall into people who don't live in the destination. But if we have true regenerative tourism that involves communities, the value of regeneration will flow back into the SMEs, the small and medium enterprises. That's the ideal way. Therefore, we have a win-win solution. The tourists win, the locals win, you know, nature wins as well. And lastly, circular. I think circular stewardship is the future, because we cannot continue to produce waste and, you know, assume that tourism is an industry where you use and throw. Yeah, we can't have that anymore. The future belongs, you know, with the philosophy that you take, you use, you separate, you recycle, and it comes back again. This is a circle of life. I think to be well, for all of us to be happy, to be well, we need to believe in a circular system. To take, use, and throw is a very, very outmoded concept. And I think that Bali is now facing this crisis. You know, as the minister showed, you know, only 2 to 3% of the waste is properly managed. I think that's even a smaller number than I had, which is kind of scary. But I think that the circular system is something that we need to understand, because it is not easy. It's a complex problem, right? There's no one bullet solution. There's a solution for a lot of things, you know. What do you do with this one? What do you do with this one? They're all different. So we need a whole slew of solutions in a systems thinking. That's how we can bring sustainability and regeneration to the table in Bali. Next. And these are just some of the things that we're doing at Ecotourism Bali. We have our verification standards with all the components, as you see, management. The first is management commitment. Rahmi and I truly believe that nothing can happen in any hospitality business if the management, whoever is the owner or the leader, does not already commit. And to tell the truth, we added this particular item to our criteria after 2.5 years of working with hospitality businesses, because we found that without the management signing on and say, okay, we have a published policy, nothing's going to happen. It doesn't matter how much money they spend, how often they want us to come, it just doesn't work. It needs courage, it needs vision in order to this to happen. So that's the first criteria. And the second, of course, we've got responsible purchasing. That's also important because the value chain is important. And materials management, and then we've got waste, obviously, the circularity, and then responsible water energy, and so on. I mean, you can read it yourself, but a lot of our components do take in the concept of biodiversity, of being circular, and of course, regeneration, and giving back to the community. And happily, we have managed with, you know, with about 3 to 4 years of work to distill it down to 33 questions. So it's not impossible for any hospitality business, no matter where you are, what language you speak. It's all in Indonesian as well, and it's easy to manage. Next. So we also have a regenerative Bali program, because we realize that just sort of not harming anything isn't good enough. You need to regenerate and give back and see living things grow. I think we can only be well in this planet we live in if we feel well and the planet is well. You know, if the mangroves are growing, if the planet is, you know, getting better, then we feel better. And that's why we feel the regenerative program is very important. Because we bring in participants, whether it be from hotels, students, even just businesses who want to do this. Everyone can come down and plant something. And when you plant something, it brings something very special to your heart, I think. So we've got a turtle release program. We've got the big mangrove program. We also have a coral planting, and then Some of our clients want tree planting, so we do that as well. So anything actually, we're quite flexible because we want people to participate in giving back and have that beautiful feeling when you plant something, you know, how precious that is that we're giving back to this planet. Next. So this is just another brief, you've seen some of these figures before. These are the 4 things we do in Regenerating Bali. Next. Okay, so more about our criteria really. It's about the environment, it's about sourcing. Right now, obviously, a lot of the focus is on sustainability, about not doing harm. But I think the next step has to be, how do you bring more good? How do you make it better? You know, as people, I think, as human beings, we're one of the few, how do you say, makhluk ya kalau dalam bahasa Indonesia, who can actually improve things. You know, we have that power to improve the situation, and we should be doing it. That's what we believe. Next. Yeah, so we've got things to do with energy, waste, also culture, obviously. And we're very lucky that the culture is alive and well in Bali, and we have to continue to support that, to build that. Next. And yeah, then talking about bioeconomy. What's bioeconomy? So the idea about bioeconomy is how to have things that are good for the ecosystem, so to speak. And how can that then become something that brings economic benefit? So some things, you know, bio-based materials, that is so great because then it saves waste from going to the landfill. Yeah, things that can be composted, you know, we can replace plastic, and all these things is a very strong bioeconomy. And if there are lots of startups doing this, I think this is one of the great solutions. The next is obviously regenerative cuisine. You know, why don't we do more biodiversity-based cuisine, sustainable and even regenerative cuisine? Plant, you know, instead of working with, oh, every restaurant has to have imported, I don't know, something, you know, they always imported something. I see a chef right there, you know, right? Why don't we start to plan our menus around things that are regenerative? You know, like moringa, for instance. Moringa is a fabulous, fabulous tree that gives back so much to the planet. And therefore then the sourcing will match the demand. Sometimes you have to build demand in order for things to happen. I'm a business person, and how powerful is that consumer, you know, in order to generate regenerative things. Next, obviously, waste. Why do we see waste as something to throw away? Why can't it be a resource? And it can only be a resource if we start to separate everything. This is the basic education. Memilah. Memilah itu Indonesia itu so difficult. We have to memilah, because then waste can become a resource by the type of waste that is separated. And native wellness, health, they are tied to botanics, you know, with plants, herbs. We have such a rich history in Indonesia and in Bali, jamu and all the, you know, Balinese herbs. Those are the things I think that can build the economy through biodiversity. And hopefully this is what we want to help our partners, you know, to build in, by you know, becoming part of our system in ecotourism Bali. Next. So the last thing obviously is, you know, people have to book things, right? And they book from booking.com. Why? Why? Because they want experiences. They don't want just to have a place to stay. Nowadays, you know, just to have a place to stay is a very basic thing, right? They're looking for experiences, experiences that can give back to them, make them feel well. People want to travel and feel good, not just to go somewhere and take a picture. I mean, that doesn't make them feel good. Yeah, it makes somebody watching the picture feel bad, actually. Why am I not there? So I would suggest that we got to make people feel good, people who book things and have experiences, right? So we've got regenerative moments for them. We've got guest education, storytelling. Tell the story of your hotel. Like Pawayan, you have, you know, things going on in your hotel. Why don't you tell stories about them, you know? And then partnerships, universities, conservation groups, traditional knowledge, you know, hotels, you know, destinations. We can all do better by communicating better, because I think in this world today, we need that. We need to reach out and be connected, be engaged. And that's, I think, the first step to creating change. Next. That's really it. So thank you very much.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. We give applause again to Ibu Suzy. Okay. One thing I learned from you, from your presentation, that regenerative tourism is not just vision, it's not just the theory, but something that can be implemented in all around the business decision and business practical. Like Trihita Karana philosophy, right? And actually the nature doesn't need us, but we need the nature. So yeah, after we listen from the conservation perspective and then how the business philosophy, now we can hear from the business players, from the operators, from the Pak Ansenilu perspective about how Booking.com travel and sustainability report this year. Freshly from the oven, ya Pak, from your report. Okay, we can give applause to Pak Ansenilu.
Good morning, good morning. Good morning. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Today I'm very inspired and energized with all the speakers, all the keynote speech. I feel there was a lot of similarities in what the industry player is trying to achieve with Booking.com's mission. And we also see there was, travel is really a good force, right? But the thing is, we also see travel as a most resilient industry across the board. We see across all different crises, uncertainties, travel industry overall still able to grow faster than the average GDP growth. And it also estimated we are going to travel industry to contribute about $16 trillion by end of 2040. So continue to grow faster, and there's a lot of potential to capture. But the question now is how we can make travel industry overall even a greater force. I think we have a lot of industry partners today in the room. We're definitely in this together. So today I'm going to crack this puzzle by providing some of the insights we collected from the real customer testimonies. This travel and sustainability report, we have actually conducted this year is the 11th edition. And I want to share a bit more insights, what the true travelers tell us about this. So, as I said, this is the 11th edition of the Travel and the Sustainability Report we adapted. So what do we find out? I believe just now Ms. Minister already mentioned the number of 84% of the travelers, they do believe sustainable options is either important or very important when they make decisions to where they're going to travel. But this year, if you look at the numbers, that number actually grows up even from 84 to 88%. And that's actually is a pretty sizable sampling if you look at it, right? We talked to the over 32,000 of travelers across 35 countries. And this is the real, what they tell us, what's real on their mind when they do think about, we make decisions on the travel. So I'm going to break this down to a few very interesting topics. One is we'll look at what's the generation differences when it comes to sustainability options. And another topic I think that's very relevant to, particularly for Indonesia and Bali destination, is extreme weathers. I believe everybody probably share the same sentiment. And we also want to look into how Indonesia travelers, they feel about this. And another one is really looking into, we see there's a lot of, sustainability is actually a very broad topic. So we would also like to dive into what customers, travelers tell us in terms of what are sustainability options, what that means to them when it comes to travel. Last but not least, we also look into some of the more broader picture of what Indonesia travelers tell us when they think about sustainability travel. And another very interesting piece we also did for the first time this year is we asked those surveys, not only as a traveler, but also as a local resident, how they see the impact the travel bring to their communities, I think to the point that community-based travel. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, so generation paradox. It's a very interesting topic. When we think about options, sustainable options, we might think, hey, maybe every generation's made a similar preferences or choices, but reality is it's not. We have clearly see there's a generation gap in terms of what they think and versus what they do. For example, we have seen younger generation told us they have a stronger intentions to travel sustainability. However, when it comes to taking actions, the older generation seems they are more into it. They're more willing to take actions to address this. For example, look at the Gen Z and the millennials, right? They said they actually have stronger action-driven approach to just make travel more sustainable. Yeah, and that really, I think, as I said, this also means for destination like Bali, right? If we know there's a stronger intent from these age groups, what are we supposed to do? How are we going to make this easier? Not only having these options available, but how we can make it easier for the travelers to access. I think that's very important. It's also a very important question for all the partners to think about. And yeah, sorry for all the data points, but that was very interesting insights I really want to share. Comes into what the travelers tell us, right? For example, look at, to my point just made on, the older generation, they are very action-driven. They will say, I already plan, I have a plan, right? I have a plan, I want to do this. Talking about general waste, talking about how they can actually shop, even they shop at the local stores, right? This is something, is also supporting the giving back to the local communities, make more sustainable options there. Also talking about reduce energy consumptions and travel outside the peak season. This is also, I think it's become very obvious, the travelers willing to plan their trips outside those peak seasons, which I think the key message here, they don't want to contribute to the over-tourism in the destinations. But, caveat to that, often look at younger generations, right? There's a differences. They also want to take actions, right? There's also stronger intent, as I mentioned. But the younger generations, they're more interested, or they say more intentional about taking in local and culture experiences, and also looking into all the wildlife conservation activities. This is where we see the younger generation's interests are. Again, this coming back to how we can make those options more available to all the generations and be more intentional. I think this, of course, there's a stronger generation, right? A stronger demand on the overall sustainability travels. And the question is how we can capture that. Let's get on to the next topic, which is extreme weather. It really comes as a concern for all age groups. And particularly for destinations like Bali, we know there was been a really tough year, right? And also what the Indonesia traveler told us is now they really consider extreme weather as a key factor when they choose those destinations, make those decisions. And from the last 12 hours, they say nearly actually 2/3 of them, they have actually canceled trips because of that, right? And also 24 of the community partners told us actually their business has been disrupted because of that. I think that's really reflecting the true reality of the industry here. Yeah, some also data points to call out here. There's still a high, as I mentioned, high percentage of the travelers, they really consider now when they plan trips, they always think about, hey, what I'm going to get, right? Whether the weather is going to be really challenging for me when they choose destinations, right? And also they will look at all the destinations for what they can do, or let's say if they say there's repeated having canceled or damaged those travel plans, there are a lot of things on their head right now. I think as a destination or as a partner in the ecosystems, we should also think about how we can make easier for them if extreme weathers comes, right? I think it's always about if they know they come to, even there's extreme weathers, what if they can say, okay, I feel quite ease, right? I can make very ease of mind. When I come to Bali, I know there's something might happen, but I feel a bit supported. I think that could really positively change the way how they plan. All right. Another very interesting point I want to share is what really that means, right? Sustainable travel, what that really means, how we can put this into apply to our business here. Again, these have now become, I think, really on top of mind of Indonesia travelers. When they travel, 37% of them, they tell us they try to avoid those overcrowded destinations. And 30%, they also told us now they actually want to plan those trips outside of peak seasons. And we see this number keep rising from the past few studies we've done. Yeah, and what that actually implies, right? We can see there's a higher consciousness of travel, more sustainability lies in these populations, because when we ask them the questions, why you actually try to avoid overcrowded destinations, 43% told them, because they don't want to contribute to the over-tourism. So they are more aware the impact they actually brought to the destination. And also when we ask them, say, why you choose to travel outside the peak season, they say, hey, 56% of them say, okay, they want to also reduce the pressure of the destinations. So you can see the travelers' demand also shifts, right, evolves over the years. Maybe if we ask them the question 10 years ago, we probably get a complete different answers. But we do see, as I said, the travel industry continue to grow faster, stronger, and the demand of those travelers also more shifting towards more sustainable options, which again, I think present both opportunity and challenge, right, for the industry. And we have to do this together. Yeah, I want to share a bit more on what really we've seen as change behavior for the overall Indonesia travelers. So if we ask them, say, hey, give me some ideas, right, the ways you are going to travel more sustainably, what that means. The first things come to their mind, 55% of the Indonesia traveler told us they want to reduce general waste. I think that's very aligned with the actual ambition we want to achieve here, particularly I think after hearing all these the speeches this morning. A few things, other things also interesting. The second comes in as they want to use more sustainable modes of transport, whether it's going to be a bike or long distance in a train. That's also become something they really care about. I think other things you can see, there's also, let's say, we do not, I think, avoid activities that could harm, a local wildlife. I think there's a few things you can see. This is a very long list. It's a variety of actions our Indonesian traveler want to take. But again, my point is, there's a lot of things coming, right? There's a lot of changes in these kind of settings. And really the question is how we can help them to make those choices easier. Again, we also ask them, say, what are you see still as the barrier right now, right? There's a few things also coming up. They said finding the more sustainable options are actually taking too much time and effort, which is true, right? Probably this is really blocking them. And also if you look at other things, right, they will say, hey, I wasn't aware there's actually more options, right, exist. Also look at the budget. There's also expenses, right, concerns related to that. I think I see the noddings here on the stage. I think that's the truth, right? But again, when we say if we want to find out ways how we can encourage those Indonesian travelers, right, to travel more, this of course, there's a lot of roles we can play together, right? We can give them more advice. We can also make this more transparent to them. And also we as an industry can think about how can bring the cost for those travelers to make those options more sustainable options. Yeah. Last but not least, I want to also touch on a few things. A very interesting study we've done this year is we interview the same person as a tourist as a local resident, and what they tell us about how they feel about travel overall. So this is very interesting, right? 65% of Indonesia respondents told us they have been very regularly interacted with tourists in their life, right? And 30 to 77% told us overall they see tourism as a very positive impact on how they live. They don't see tourism adding a lot of pressure, or let's say over-tourism as a major concerns, but overall they see tourism as a very positive impact in their life, which I think it's a very positive news for us too. Yeah. Then we look into a bit of, hey, what actually that means, right? So they look at overall what you think the benefits of tourism, what do you mean by that? And they told us, of course, there's a lot of economy growth, right? Job opportunities, and also when we come into, there's a lot of entertainment options, a lot of positive things there. But also look at the challenges they've seen. Very similar to what we've just talked about, right? Traffic congestions. We talk about waste, general waste control. We talk about living off cost, right? A cost of living. And we also see a bit of overcrowded destinations. So nothing really surprising to us. But also when we ask about where you see the opportunities, right? You really can, communities need to get support from. It's again very aligned to this morning's, I think the overall messages we hear. There's a lot of things we say, hey, public transportation, right? That's coming back to the overall, when we say options, when we say broader sustainability, right? And we see there's actually better waste management. Again, a lot of, I think, resonating themes here. All right, so I think, again, I'm very glad I'm going to get the opportunity today to share what we have learned as one player in the industry. But also, I think more important to me is this year is Booking.com's 30 years anniversary. We have been on a mission to make it easier for everybody to experience the world. But now even make me more excited because I think by seeing this audience in this ballroom, I think we are definitely on the same journey to make easier for everyone to experience Indonesia more sustainably. So I'm very excited about the future of this. So if you are interested in any of those data points, please feel free to connect. I'm also looking forward to the collaborations. Thank you.
Okay, we give applause to Pak Anthony for the presentation. So many data and comprehensive information, Pak. And actually, we often assume that Gen Z cares more about sustainability, but we shouldn't underestimate boomers, right? Because they also demonstrate a strong commitment to sustainability. Give applause to boomers, right? Boomers and Gen Z, we stay together. And then, after the other key message from your presentation is that sustainability is increasing, becoming travelers' expectation from your survey, and also more travelers also paying attention on how destination and businesses manage their environmental and social impact, like the traffic and the waste management and etc. And now let's see how these ideas are being implemented at the destination level. We will now hear the presentation from Pak Tanto. And Pak Tanto, the stage is yours.
Thank you Bu Jeany for the introduction. Bu Ratih, Bu Suzy, Pak Antony, thank you very much Bu for having us here. I'm here representing Labuan Bajo Flores Tourism Authority, but we are here with in collaboration with Flores and Komodo National Park to show Bali and Indonesia how we practice ecotourism in Labuan Bajo. I think the findings, the framework from Bu Ratih, and then how the philosophy that Bu Suzy has already shown us earlier, and the data and research from Pak Antony are really in line with what we have been practicing for the last 5 years. And the findings also from Pak Antony for the last 2 years, I think really match the data and the practice that we apply in Labuan Bajo. So our today's topic that we want to propose is toward regenerative destination, community-based ecotourism transformation in 3 local tourism villages in Labuan Bajo, Rangko, Warloka, and Wailolos. Next. Okay. So to give you a brief background that me here from Labuan Bajo Flores Tourism Authority. We are an institution under the Ministry of Tourism. We have two functions here, the authoritative function. One is to build and to have end-to-end jurisdiction in 400 hectares to build prototyping for the sustainable destination. And we have coordinative function is to help to assess and to assist local government communities to build sustainable tourism. But what I heard from Bu Suzy, sustainable is not enough, but we have to move to regenerative tourism. Next. For the last 5 years, I think we have curated at least 10 major issues about destination in Labuan Bajo Flores. But if I can highlight, there are top three issues that we are facing right now, and there is an urge to fixing the problem. Is the one is sustainability and conservation, because that's the core values that to build to bring tourism to the island. Because the sustainability, we want to pass on this beautiful nature and culture to our next generation, while keep having such a beautiful island. We keep having such a wonderful culture. And then second one is human resources and institutional affairs. What we realized that Labuan Bajo Flores has become the epicentrum of growth for tourism in the Eastern Indonesia, but only for the last 15 years. We need the socio-cultural transformation, and that's a big homework for us to show the people that tourism is an industry, because mostly in Flores, people try to transform from the extractive labor to tourism, which is the service kind of job. So it's very hard to make sure that the people really understand that tourism is an industry, one, and tourism is an industry that needs to be sustained. That's really a hard work for us and for all the government that bring this what we call central government agenda, tourism, to the Flores as a local government, local people there. So it's quite an issue. That's the thing that we need to work on for the next 5 years. And then the third one is the governance, the stewardship, how to maintain, how the institutional people, the local communities to really have an institution, to really have the backup system for growing the sustainable tourism within the area. Next. And this is the Labuan Bajo Tourism Insight. What you can see from the graphic here, that for the last 5 years, tourism has grown rapidly in Labuan Bajo. After a central government intervention for the infrastructure, you can see that last year we have 500,000 visitors, and even is 21% year on year from 2024. And so with the numbers of hotels, 116 for just a small city, and even 812 ships. This is a massive number for such a small city. So despite the rapidly growing tourism sectors, next slide please. This is the wake-up call for the tourism area from the private sectors and also the government sectors. It's about 82% of the all visit is going to Komodo National Park, going to see the Komodo dragon. And even from our data, even 93% the international visit solely want to see the Komodo dragon. So the disparity is very huge, and this is not just the phenomenon. This is a good numbers actually. The good number 500 visit is a good number for the central government's RPJMN, like Bu Kiki says early on. But we see this the need for the disparate, the need to disperse the tourism concentration from Komodo National Park to mainland Flores is no longer just a crowd control tactics, it's a ecological necessity. That's what we want to show you guys here. Next. So there are some typical findings that we find that in Labuan Bajo, then 3 days 2 nights becomes the typical packages because it switches the packages from liveaboard go to the Komodo National Park, and this is a trap for the tourism sector in Labuan Bajo, and also the spending disparity from the international tourists and domestic tourists is too high. The disparity is too big. It's almost twice the number, and we think, and this number is actually in accordance with, in line with how the price of the packages for 3 days 2 nights. And so we see the trend. So like what Pa Anthony said earlier, the Gen Zs actually have a tendency to also see the cultural performance more likely to be closer with the cultures, and that's the finding that we find. 21% the search to travel interest toward local homestays and experience, and we see this actually as an opportunity to shifting focus to the mainland tourism villages to extend stay duration and to ensure the inclusive wealth distribution for the all villages. Next please. So Labuan Bajo Flores Tourism Authority here within Flores and Komodo National Park, we see that these 3 community-led tourism models in Labuan Bajo, they showing a shift from a conventional tourism to active nature-based solution through Cunca Ulang, Rangko, and Wailolos. And this model proved that I think high value regenerative travel can seamlessly coexist with and directly finance the restoration of the critical terrestrial, coastal, and marine ecosystem. So we can next we can take a look at the 3 villages that we want to introduce to the forum here that already implement the practice of ecotourism. We have community-led resource stewardship, Wailolos Village, and active coastal restoration with Warloka Village, and the low-impact exploration Rangko Premium Eco Adventure. Next, please. This is the first one. This is the Warloka Village. So there are 3 main attractions that we have there: the mangrove, the village tour, and the stunning landscape. What we think is significant from Warloka is they try to transform visitor from passive observer into an active participation in the hands of mangrove restoration. This is very significant. And last year we have a couple of edu trip to Rangko from Singapore and Australia. They keen to learn how to see how the mutualist symbiosis between the villagers and then the educators, the academia, to see the real mangrove plantation within the area, and then the village tour to show that our tourism activity also gives back to nature, like what Bu Suzy mentioned earlier. The next one, please. Wailolos. Wailolos, I see Pak Prof Nengah from Poltek El Bajo, because they also actively guiding and help the Wailolos community, and this is we think one of the model that can see how collective tourism revenues are structurally invested into the watershed conservation and localized forestation initiative. And we see with the 7 waterfalls, Valolos becomes one of the leading tourism village in Manggarai Barat, in Labuan Bajo right now. They even placed 11, I think, in Wonderful Indonesia Award for the best local villages. And they have been managed these 7 waterfalls to refinancing back the development of the village. So I think that's a good practice for them. And the last village is the Rangkov village. Alongside the WWF team, Bu Ratih, we try to underpin and highlight how a low carbon activity with the high quality and premium eco adventure can coexist together, even in Labuan Bajo, because they have such a beautiful mangrove labyrinth, and then sea salt waters cave, which is so beautiful, and together they have a premium eco experience, community led experience for the Labuan Bajo Flores tourism experience tourism. Those 3 packages actually you can buy and see at our booth back there from my friends from Labuan Bajo Flores Tourism Authority. This is the rest of the presentation is about Labuan Bajo Flores Tourism Authority authoritative zone, one of the prototyping to build a sustainable destination in Labuan Bajo. Next, you can see also the packages that we have, 9 summits of Flores to have a perspective of that we want to bring the concentration of tourism not only to Labuan Bajo but to whole Flores Island. Next, we have also the travel map for Flortama, 35 tourism destination attraction in all Flores, Alor, and Lembata. If you guys want to buy packages or want to have a look, you can see our booth back there. Next, we have also 30 tourism villages champion in Floratama that you can visit and you can share. I see some of the audience also from the tourism villages, so you can help each other to promote and to build the ecosystem of tourism villages. Next, we also have the pilgrim tourism for Catholic Church in Flores because we see Flores as the Vatican of Indonesia, because lots of priests and the majority of the people are Catholics there, and we have a very good, very immune history of Catholic Church in Flores, so we see it as a potential packages. Next, this is the tourism village in Flores. Next, this is the thematic packages, so you can see how vibrant and the varied concept and thematic experience that you can experience in Flores, from the UNESCO list trips to the trip to the past, and then conservation trip, and also the pilgrimage trips. Next, and also we have coffee, of course, the Flores coffee, and we have highlighted some of the marvelous spots all along Flores to make your journey even better. Next. So I think that's all the presentation from Labuan Bajo Flores Tourism Authority, and we want to highlight that the future of Labuan Bajo is no longer seen only from the deck of the sea, but from the footprints of the visitors in the land of culture in Flores. I think that's all, Bu Ratih. Terima kasih.
Okay, we give applause to Pak Tanto presentation. So, Pak, even though there are many challenges, but the one thing I specifically learned from your presentation is about how local communities are becoming the active stewards of nature through tourism.
Yeah.
From the Waloka village, Wailolos, and Rangko, right? Yeah. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we have now heard 4 comprehensive perspective from our speakers. Please give a big applause again for the speakers. from the conservation perspective, implementation, and then travelers' behavior, and also destination management. Now, I think we have time to give the opportunity to the audience. Okay, we still have time. I think we can open the question opportunity from the audience, maybe for the one audience, and yeah. Okay, so yeah, it's okay if you give the question in bahasa Indonesia. Ya, oke. Silahkan Bapak yang di ujung kiri. Bisa sebutkan nama kemudian organisasinya ya Pak, terima kasih.
Terima kasih untuk waktunya. Saya Imanuddin dari Project in Flores. Mungkin sedikit pesan sponsor gitu ya. Project in Flores ini project hibah dari UNDP yang salah satu tujuannya adalah outcome-nya adalah membangun ekosistem hijau pariwisata di Labuan Bajo gitu ya. Kami bekerja sama dengan termasuk BPOLBF dan juga stakeholder lain begitu ya untuk mencapai tujuan itu. Dan saya sangat tertarik tadi dengan presentasi yang sudah disampaikan Ibu Suzy begitu ya mengenai regenerative tourism gitu ya. Ada 7 prinsip dan itu buat kami sebenarnya salah satu mimpi kami di proyek ini adalah itu salah satu mimpi yang ingin kami wujudkan begitu ya di akhir 2029. Jadi proyek ini akan berakhir di 2029 dan kami pikir kami cukup punya banyak waktu 2 tahun setidaknya untuk bisa mewujudkan tadi regeneratif tourism itu. Prinsip-prinsip itu ingin kami implementasikan di pariwisata di Labuan Bajo. Nah pertanyaannya sebenarnya kira-kira kalau saya tadi terlewat apakah hal ini sudah diimplementasi atau belum. Tapi kira-kira kalau dari saya ingin tahu sebenarnya challenge-nya apa sih untuk menerapkan ini di Bali setidaknya supaya kami bisa bercermin begitu ya. Karena kalau kita bicara pariwisata ini kan Bali ini sudah berumurnya sudah tua. Labuan Bajo tadi baru 2020 masih muda gitu ya. Ada banyak pelajaran yang harus kami petik supaya kesalahan-kesalahan yang terjadi di Bali itu tidak terulang begitu ya. Nah kira-kira apa challenge-nya kalau misalnya yang sudah terjadi gitu ya di Bali dan apa sih kalau misalnya itu suksesnya apa? Kalau kira-kira kita mau implementasi kunci kesuksesannya di mana sih yang harus kita approach begitu ya. Mungkin itu dari saya Bu Suzy, terima kasih. Saya Iman dari Inflores. Ya.
Thank you Pak Diman, but the question is about what's the challenge in Bali to implement the regenerative ecotourism, especially to Bu Suzy, but I think Mbak Ratih and also Pak Anthony dan Pak Tanto can edit more answer after Bu Suzy answer the question. Please Bu Suzy.
It's mungkin itu nggak bisa dalam 1-2 sentence ya jawabannya. Rasanya kalau mempelajari Bali itu bagus ya karena ya seperti disebutkan sudah lama dan melalui berbagai macam periode ya udah bom Bali ini itu dan memang betul yang disebut Pak Anthony juga that tourism is itu tuh resilient sebetulnya dia bisa kembali. Tapi setiap masa tuh ada challenge-nya sendiri saya rasa. Selama di sini dan bicara juga dengan tourism actor yang zaman dahulu gitu ya. Itu tuh setiap masa ada challenge-nya sendiri-sendiri. Yang awal itu marketing, urusan marketing yang orang nggak tahu siapa Bali gitu kan. Lalu kan ikut. Lalu problemnya dengan security gitu kan dengan Bali gini. Lalu dengan mengontrol land use gitu. Jadi kayaknya setiap periode tuh ada problemnya sendiri. Nah sekarang kita dalam tahap kita tahu tentang traffic, tentang waste. Ini kan sebetulnya happy problem, in a way happy problem karena turisnya banyak gitu. Jadi saya rasa setiap tempat itu ada masa-masanya. Every stage has a different problem and every stage has a different solution. Tapi I would say that it's a good case study ya untuk dilihat gitu.
Dan semoga di Flores ketika selesai 2029 sudah bisa regeneratif ya Pak ya. And
that's the next stage for us.
That's the next stage. The next challenge also. Good challenge. But I think I will give the opportunity to Mbak Ratih to add maybe a quick perspective.
Terima kasih Bapak, karena ini kolega kami juga di lapangan. Jadi ya kita menghadapi tantangan-tantangan itu juga di lapangan dan izin menggunakan bahasa Indonesia karena ternyata beberapa hal yang memang kami coba pelajari di Bali awal di WWF Indonesia lewat Marine and Fisheries Directorate itu plan-plan yang memang rencana-rencana yang harus kita lakukan itu ada beberapa tahapan yang sebenarnya ya sepakat dengan Ibu Suzy tadi bahwa setiap destinasi punya tantangannya sendiri gitu ya. Ketika kita menghadapi masa COVID, masa pra-COVID, and post-COVID-nya seperti apa dan kita punya banyak tim kolega yang teman-teman industrial harus seperti ini dulu nih. Nanti teman-teman advocators harus seperti ini ya supaya nanti align dan semuanya seperti itu. Kalau yang mungkin lagi kami jalankan sih sepertinya itu ya. Jadi dari advocatorsnya itu seperti apa, polisinya bagaimana, enforcementnya seperti apa gitu ya dan praktikal di lapangannya yang paling sulit memang teknikalnya nih. Tim teknisnya di lapangan ini yang harus menghadapi massive enforcement juga ya seperti apa proses yang dihadapi di lapangan mungkin itu sih tapi overall gitu ya we are facing same challenges I think because there is a lot of things that we can do together with Pentaholics collaboration. I think that there is a more important when we talk about the 2 years projection and others things for collaboration.
More in practical things, yeah. And Pak Anthony, can you wanna add some points about how to support the Flores to be more regenerative and what the most challenge to anticipate to Flores can be learned so they can be more regenerative, maybe from the trend or maybe from the traveler's perspective.
Yeah, sure. I'm not really familiar with the specific destination, but as I mentioned, I've been traveling to Indonesia quite often as a tourist, and what I've seen, I think, is really no different to the other travelers. Yes, there's challenges, but also I personally see there's a lot of tailwind, because overall, right, the customer mindset is shifting towards become more sustainable. We have seen from data from a lot of sources. And the same thing is also happened to be, they want more, right? They told us they want to be more sustainable. They also, at the same time, they demand more. I just shared some data just now. When talk about sustainability, they're no longer happy with talking about only reducing the waste. Now they are looking into, hey, I want to contribute into the local communities, right? I want to contribute, instead of taking away a lot of things from the destination, I want to give back. Right. Also, for example, they're taking more conscious decisions now to avoid overcrowded destinations. And we've seen this, but they're not only thinking of, they already start doing it. They search those destinations. We have, for example, AI interface, right? A lot of travelers intentionally search to avoid those peak travel dates to destinations. I think really the question is how we can work together even closer. Right now, Booking.com, for example, we display a third-party certification, for example, right, for sustainability certifications. And we see a significant increase year-on-year. And in 2025 alone, there's about 100 million room nights have been booked on Booking.com with a certification of those properties. Imagine if we increase that by another 10, 20% next year, right? And also another thing is also about transportations, right? We can also book taxis, all the different transportation on Booking.com. This also, I think, really want to work with all the industry players. How can make these more sustainable options accessible, easier, visible to our travelers? So I think there's a lot of, challenges, but at the same time, I see more opportunities.
Thank you, Pak Anthony. So comprehensive answer. And Pak Tanto mau menambahkan?
Sepertinya kami dalam satu tim sebenarnya ini. Tapi kalau misalnya tadi untuk dari sustainability to regenerative, sepertinya kami akan belajar banyak ke timnya Bu Suzy, karena dalam desain kepariwisataan Labuan Bajo Flores memang didesain untuk keberlanjutan, sustainability. Seperti yang tadi saya sampaikan sebelumnya terkait 10 isu utama kepariwisataan berkelanjutan di Labuan Bajo Flores, itu sebenarnya di dalam situ kita ada membuat buku putih juga, nanti bisa dicek di belakang di booth kita, tentang identifikasi masalah, lalu usulan penanganan, periode penanganan, serta para PIC yang dapat berkolaborasi bersama untuk penanganan isu-isu tersebut. Bahkan kita juga mengklasifikasikan top 3 isunya tadi yang seperti saya sempat sampaikan. Dan kalau misalnya sudah sampai pada arah sustainability, saya rasa untuk kita menambahkan dan mendorong sedikit ke pariwisata regeneratif, saya rasa sepertinya akan jauh lebih mudah, Ibu. Kurang lebih demikian tambahan dari saya.
Terima kasih Pak Tanto. So, ladies and gentlemen, finally we have come to the end of our session. Give applause to all of us in this room. I think I will highlight 3 takeaways from our discussion. The first, nature is not a backdrop for tourism, it is the foundation of tourism. And the second, regenerative tourism is not a future aspiration, it is already happening through the effort of businesses, communities, and destinations across the Indonesia. And the third, creating a regenerative tourism future will require collaboration among government, industry, communities, and travelers. And as we had throughout all this session, tourism depends on nature, but the future of tourism will be defined by how well it restores it. And I personally would like to thank our distinguished speakers, Mbak Ratih, Ibu Suzy, Pak Anseni, dan Pak Tanto for the so wonderful discussion. And then I'm Jeany Hartriani from Katadata Green. Thank you, and please enjoy the rest of the Meru Ecotourism Week 2026 and have a wonderful day ahead. Thank you, bye.
Baik, apresiasi sekali lagi untuk panel discussion pertama, Tourism as a Force for Nature, from Extractive Model to Regenerative Bioeconomy. Terima kasih kepada moderator dan para speaker. Dan selanjutnya, kita akan melaksanakan token appreciation kepada moderator dan juga para speaker pada panel discussion 1.
Untuk penyerahan token apresiasi kami persilahkan Program Director The Meru Ecotourism Week 4th Edition Ibu Rahmi Fajar hari ini untuk berkenan naik ke atas panggung dan menyerahkan token of appreciation kepada para narasumber dan moderator.
Luar biasa sekali diskusi kali ini, sangat insightful dan inspiratif bagi kita semua untuk pariwisata berkelanjutan yang ada di Bali. Baik, penyerahan sudah dilakukan kepada moderator kita.
Token appreciation diberikan kepada Ibu Ratih Permitha dari Marine Tourism Manager WWF Indonesia. Kemudian kepada Bapak Antoni Lu, Regional Director for Southeast Asia and Greater China, Booking.com. Dan terakhir kepada Bapak Didimus Estanto, Turuk, Head of Domestic Promotion and Marketing Division Labuan Bajo Flores Tourism Authority.
Baik, kita akan melaksanakan sesi foto dalam hitungan 3, 2, 1. Sekali lagi Bapak Ibu, 1, 2, 3. Baik, luar biasa sekali mengakhiri panel discussion pertama pada Ecotourism Week 2026 kali ini. Sekali lagi kami mengucapkan terima kasih kepada narasumber dan juga penanya serta moderator yang sudah memandu sesi panel discussion pada kali ini. Oke, bisa foto-foto dulu untuk mengabadikan momen ini. Oke, luar biasa sekali. Terima kasih Bapak Ibu. Disilakan untuk kembali ke tempat. Terima kasih. Luar biasa sekali hadirin sekalian, itu dia tadi first session of our panel discussion dengan tema Tourism as a Force for Nature, from Extractive Models to a Regenerative Bioeconomy. Dan tentunya kita akan menghadirkan beberapa sesi ke depan. Untuk itu jangan kemana-mana hadirin sekalian, tetap stay tune dalam event kali ini. Baiklah hadirin yang kami hormati, dengan demikian berakhir sudah rangkaian sesi pagi pada hari pertama The Meru Ecotourism Week 4th Edition. Thank you very much for your thoughtful participation.
Kembali kami ucapkan terima kasih kepada Wonderful Indonesia Sustainable Tourism Industry Forum, WISTIF, Kementerian Pariwisata Republik Indonesia sebagai mitra pemerintah resmi dari The Meru Ecotourism Week 4th Edition.
Dan kami menginformasikan kepada seluruh hadirin, kita akan melaksanakan istirahat dan makan siang. Untuk VIP, lunch akan tersedia di teras Rosso Restaurant. Dan untuk VVIP akan tersedia di Agung 1. Kita akan melaksanakan break dan lunch selama 1 jam ke depan.
Dan setelah itu akan dilanjutkan dengan sesi panel 2 pada jam 14 sampai jam 15.30 WITA. Sehingga kami mengharapkan seluruh hadirin untuk kembali ke dalam ruangan ini dalam waktu yang ditentukan.
Selama lunch break berlangsung, kami juga menggoda seluruh peserta untuk mengunjungi area exhibition dan melaksanakan networking session bersama para exhibitors, bersama para innovators dan juga the strategic partners yang akan tetap buka ya nanti exhibitor area hingga pukul 4 nanti. Silakan memanfaatkan momen dengan baik untuk berinteraksi dengan berbagai inovator.
Kami juga mengingatkan dan mempersilahkan seluruh hadirin untuk mengunjungi booth masing-masing peserta di pintu masuk, khususnya Wonderful Indonesia Sustainable Tourism Industry Forum oleh Kementerian Pariwisata, Egg Project, dan Flores di area exhibition. Selamat menikmati makan siang dan sesi networking.
Untuk itu sampai jumpa kembali di sesi berikutnya dalam acara The Meru Ecotourism Week 4th Edition. Terima kasih.